Hello YouTube, and welcome back to the channel here today. Today we're going to be watching 2 episodes of the second season of the Apothecary Diaries. Very excited to be back here and actually doing some real content after last week was pretty introductory and pretty low-key. It is bright and early in the morning. I've already been out and voted. I'm not going to tell you who I voted for, but it's probably who you think I would have voted for. Anyway, park that. The show. I'm keen for content. I'm keen for something to occur. And that content seems to be coming in the form of a set of twins. At least to my knowledge right now, that seem to be coming from the West, I guess, as a general direction. Not much else to say. Something, books, literacy, whatnot. YouTube comments here. They're weird to talk about because these first two from Gus N and Kelvin are going into some subtitle stuff. I guess I'll just talk about it here. I wasn't that hot on the Netflix stuff, but it was fine mostly. I've decided to switch to Crunchyroll just because, again, as Gus N says here, it's the terms I'm more familiar with, right? You know, concubine, consort, court lady, woman in service. I'm just a little bit surer on these terms as I did a whole season of anime using those Crunchyroll subs. Again, in general, I do probably prefer Crunchyroll to Netflix with most things. Netflix is a little bit... We ran into trouble with Delicious in Dungeon with that as well, I remember. So, yeah, again, probably just going to opt to avoid Netflix subs wherever possible. What was another example? Evangelion. There was some weird subbing for Netflix and Evangelion, I remember that. Obviously not on the channel, but just casually. These first two comments, I'm not really even going to bother bouncing off of them because there's not much else to say. I've made the decision. I'm downloading Crunchyroll as we speak. More to the point, we have a lesson here from Molly who goes into how you actually teach somebody a language or literacy or to read or I don't know, any number of things, right? And I found this very educational. I always knew the term phonics, but I didn't really know what it meant. So let's dive in here a little bit. There are two main schools of thought in English on how to teach literacy, that being phonics and whole word. Phonics is sound combinations, right? You get taught the sound of a word or a sound of two words together, and then you can use that to piece together words through time, right? Probably one of my earliest schooling memories is stuff like this. You know, you would write out like cha, and then it'd be like chalk, and you'd be like, okay, let's kind of put those two together or something. Or like ta, and then k, and then take, you know? And it's about the kind of hard vowel sounds and soft vowel sounds and that kind of stuff. Again, very foundational stuff when learning English. And again, this is very, successful at getting people to form sentences, speak sentences, be able to read out sentences, but isn't as good as establishing what those words actually mean. And yeah, in the reaction, I kind of suggested doing something like this, starting with some idioms, some small things here and there, just to get you through the day, really. And again, from the two schools of thoughts, you can clearly see the advantages and disadvantages, right? Whole word practitioners, you actually learn the language, as opposed to phonics, where it's just kind of like, you're making the correct sounds, but do you know what it actually means? Now, again, I was very lucky when I was very young, I was taught English, right? Because I live in Australia and we speak it as a language. If I was trying to learn English later on as a new language, this would be quite difficult, right? Because you would sound out words and know what those words sounded like to speak, but without knowing their actual application. And again, it's only through comparison to whatever other language you know where you would be able to actually figure that kind of stuff out. The other one you will often see is kids sounding out a word and then, oh yeah, okay, I know what that sounds like, and then adding on the end and substituting it for a word they already know, right? Which isn't the case with English all the time. And I'd imagine that's how it works with most other languages. There's nuances everywhere, of course. Just as a point of reference, I've dabbled in some Japanese in my time. I'm not very good and I'm very out of practice, as you can probably tell from the channel. But again, would hiragana and katakana kind of sounding that kind of stuff out be phonics associated, and then the kanji stuff a little bit more whole word? That would make sense to me. Again, kanji, the way at least I was taught it, is like this kanji means this, because it's very hard to, associate each of those characters by sounding them out or trying to do anything like that. You just kind of have to learn it from experience. But some kanji are also made up of different characters smushed together. That's the way I understand it anyway. again, I never really got that far into it, if I'm honest. Again, I'm probably leaning phonics overall. It creates this foundation, and then you get the nuances later on, right? At least you can, interact with it a little bit. There may be exceptions to certain rules, but the rules are still the rules mostly. Most things follow the same kind of structure. Again, for every there, and there, which is a weird rule, obviously, there is take, make, bake, sake, or steak. Like lots of words that, follow similar structures and are quite easy to sound out and rote learn. And yeah, I thought this was largely very educational and, again, kind of gave some insight to my own teaching at a very young age. I'm like, oh, that's how I did it. Okay, that's how I got to where I am today. So yeah, I wonder if, again, back to the subject at hand, we're going to be diving in deeper on any of that stuff as it pertains to Apothecary Diaries. Potentially. Again, it seems like we're in for the long haul with Xiaolan and that other character, the one that kind of found the cat or whatnot. You know the one I'm talking about. Just for the record, I think Xiaolan is kind of death flaggy. Xiaolan or the kid, I feel like we're going to do something fucked up there. It's too happy at the moment. And this show isn't happy. It's never happy for long. So again, one to watch. I feel like, yeah, something fucked up's going to happen. It just kind of has to. But either way, something that isn't fucked up, that is happening quite constantly, is my Patreon. You can give me $6 a month and have episodes 1 week early. I don't know. It's your prerogative. If you want that, you can access that in the description below. Many people have done that, up to and including Mickey Babbers, AJ, Bananarama Hamadama-sama, Bisa, Bobbin, Capella, Choba Copley, Sinarin, Dapper Dwarf, Darky26, Ed, Fancy Question Mark, Fleur Nightingale, Fruit, Fusel, Gloriana Tenebrae, Glyke, Guanal, Gus N, Hans Peter, Ika, Yako Yavanen, Jacob R, Jami Boo, Joran, Kasogtha, Kelvin, Clem, Nosta, Cont Begemot, Lick H, Lou, Marco-san, Mistake L Chen, Molly Weinberger, Mr. Maniacs, Parnik, Pencil Sharp 333, Ragashingo, Ronled B&K, St. Lily, Sal, Sam1373, Skeleton, Tentacult Member, Waifu Overdose, Without a Net, Yuki Ali, Zach, Shinshio Iyoshi, Akumansa, Binshi, Voodoo Chili, Aiden O'Brien, and Nico Lane. Thank you to everybody for giving me money. I enjoy the money. And yeah, I've kind of set us up already. A caravan is approaching. And, I don't know, Meow Meow's doing Meow Meow stuff. We have a cat, I guess. Sure, I don't know where that'll go. But yeah, show stuff quickly. If you like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Discord if you want to talk to me any further about stuff or talk with like-minded individuals, much like yourself, about the show. I don't know, it's a cool place to be. And yeah, let's dive in here to episode 2 of season 2 of the Apothecary Diaries. Rightio, I have episode 2 of the Apothecary Diaries season 2 up there ready to go. 24 minutes flat on this one. I've got the Crunchyroll version. I believe it's Very G or whatever the hell on Nya. So, but again, it's Crunchyroll subs. Whatever Crunchyroll version you have will probably work. And yeah, there's a picture-in-picture version in the description below. Regardless, let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go. Of course, the opening. How could I forget? Let's turn this down slightly too. Very loud. Shushes the crowd. Calm down. And then pointing to the sky. I guess I'm getting the general gist of this opening as well, kind of like this sense of calm, this sense of everything being okay, and then something sneaking up on Mao Mao. I just like the characters in this show a lot. This opening helps me think about that. So I must be doing okay. And again, like I said last week, kind of Jinshi gazing into himself. And, like, both Mao Mao and Jinshi, like, looking back on Jinshi's past is kind of the vibe I'm getting there. Bathing, coming clean, lots of cool stuff. Cool. subs please show up? Thank you. Okay, staying for a while. Okay. Interesting. Why do I feel like this is building up to something larger? Wardrobe change. Ingfa? Yeah, bet. What do you mean out of style? You guys have been wearing the same shit constantly. There were fads back in the day? What are you talking about? Oh, okay. Okay, to stop the moths or something? Yeah? Is that who these people are? Interesting. Yes. Okay, so that's why. Yeah, okay. I don't know. Are we... It's like a dick measuring contest. Who cares? Especially, again, I've got the Emperor's Child. I've got two of them, actually. Fallout New Vegas? I hear that a big caravan is showing up. Oh yeah, Mama will love it. Mama always finds something to shop. Ooh. Boss is here. Yeah, she's pretty scary. I'm recording too, which is good. Spring. Oh, hello. Yeah? You were gonna start trying again, right? I thought was the vibe. What? That was a very odd scene. That warrants further questioning, I feel. I'm lost. I don't know what's going on there, but sure. We're just chilling on the side. Okay. Generally correct. So... yeah, this is all very adorable, but I can't help but feel that tragedy is approaching. Yeah, who knows what's going on over there? Shopping. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Everyone's smart in this show. Because I believe that Gyokyo just read, like, completely... yeah, they read between the lines. But you two didn't. Okay. Ah, oh, finally, Bowl. I love Bowl. Oh, you bought a little present? Isn't that just lovely? Puts a smile on your dial, doesn't it? A little bit of that cat stuff coming through in the character design too. She's frugal. She's just like me for real. Oh, finally Camel. Oh yeah, yeah. This was in the opening. Oh, it's you again. Shisui. Shisui, Shisui, Shisui. Shaolan. Shao Mao. That sound effect there. Look how small the cat looked there. No. Mao Mao. Why is he so chill? We love the Doctor. Hmm. Jasmine tea. The hell's a mooncake? He is a blabbermouth. Is it a bad smell or a good smell or... Why the hell are you into shrubs? Oh, you're into bugs. Okay. I don't want anything to do with the spiders, if I'm honest. Okay, so these two freaks are gonna nerd out. Okay. And then we'll probably find out what the smell is as well. Alright, what are we doing? Where are we? Who are we talking to? What? Scented oil. Always looking for that extra dollar. It looked like in that scene previous, we opened up a basket full of... Oh, interesting. Okay, so straight over here. I mean, can I speak to the lady in charge? Can I talk to Lifa? Should probably... I'm a pervert. Sexual gratification. Yeah. Hmm. But if there's a whole bunch of them everywhere as well, you just increase that chance. And this clearly ties into the costuming stuff. Like they knew that she was pregnant. The very start of the show. Correct. As not that directly, but yes. Again, themes of the show. Uh, uh. Okay, you're letting your mind race a little bit. I like that. Again, I know. Conspiracy theorist Mao Mao. Where are we? Yeah, felt like we're kind of towards the end. Which days? Some? Not really. Get a room, you two. Okay. Okay. I learnt a lot about jasmine tea here today. And what is that? Well, I mean, I'm a eunuch. He's fucking pissed. Why'd he crack the shits? Who the hell's Jin? Hongyang? That last shot was sus. Suspicious. Also, this song kills me every time. It's very, it's very Fruits Basket. I didn't complimentary, not derogatory, but it's just the way it is. Yeah. A lot of things to consider. A lot, for sure. Whatever the hell's happening over with Li Fa and their whole house is still a mystery to me. Jinchi cracked the shits there at the end. I don't know what that was about. I guess you could read into it, kind of. That'll make sense. We can. It's not anything big, I don't think. Still haven't met the twins. And people, as a broad concept, may know about Gyokyo's pregnancy, which may involve some, maneuverings and machinations in the background. Again, I kind of see what they're doing. None of these things individually are poison, but in such volumes and so many variety of things, it all just adds up to something. There's suspicious things at play. Yeah, okay. A lot of stuff happening. Okay, next episode's called Corpse Fungus, and I think we'll just watch it straight away. Rightio, episode 3 of season 2 up there ready to go, 24 minutes flat again. And yeah, picture in picture in the description below. Let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1. Rightio, 3, 2, 1, go. Straight into that opening again. Yeah, kind of what I was talking about in the opening last episode has kind of come to fruition in a way, right? There was this false sense of security before Mao Mao switched on again, and it's like, oh, okay. There's like poison everywhere. That in these shots of like the teapot and the pouring and all that kind of stuff here, this is all very like shadowy figures in the dark, plotting stuff. Seems like we're going to be doing something with whatever that flower was, that white flower in the opening as well, based on the preview. The episode was called Corpse Fungus, so I don't know what that's all about. Okay. Not gin. Oh, always hard at work. Very studious. Not Tao. There's lots of shit happening. Oh. Oh. Yeah, I'm being attacked. Yeah, don't... That doesn't sound good. Probably bad. Ah, I've been discovered. Ugh. No way. Oh, she wanted to be involved. That's a bit cute. My stupid kid's getting in the way. Well, like a library? Oh, no, the school. Okay. Yeah, bet. This is all just very lovely. Lovely. Because I actually agree with it. I'm just used to you disagreeing. He loves it either way. I don't think he has a preference. Mama's always thinking about it. The smell. Trade school. Well, lucky I'm here. I mean, I'll take it to heart. I know more than most. I mean, I like mushrooms. I'm not like picking mushrooms off a tree and just eating them. Okay, I can get rid of the poison mushrooms. Excuse me. It's always this other layer going on every single time. Because again, he's trying to get to the bottom of the whole gin thing or whatever, right? Ah! Cane Toad. Let's go north. I remember. Ew. Poo mushrooms. Let's get you a bath. You're nasty. Bath. Oh, yes. What's going on? Black tape around the arm. Okay. And now you're going to put two and two together? Maybe, eventually. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so she was a fucking bitch. Cool. Okay, so it's kind of good she died. Hong Yang says I'll do it again. Mau. Switched on. Well, there's one person that we just learnt that had motive. What? Well, it wasn't fucking Mau Mau. Mau Mau didn't know who it was. Oh. Mau. Okay. Curiosity didn't kill the cat. Unless somebody fucking bum rushed the fucking stage. What's happening? Well, that makes it easy. Let's have a look then. Hair loss? Yeah, very similar to your own symptoms. No, this is deranged. Okay. Yeah, bet. I have a great personality. Okay. And then it seems like revenge. But it seems like she got the same thing. Oh, Coral. Finally. Dude, they look like they're gang affiliated. Can you tell me what it is? Oh, it's a mushroom. Ooh. Interesting. So you've got a bit of history. Yeah, I agree. I've got hella scars. Yeah, she put it together. Okay. Jin He as opposed to Jin Shi. Yeah. Don't touch me, freak. Gaoshun will hook you up. Alright. Let's put a bit of trust in her. You've got a bit of familiarity with the way she works now, which is fun. We love our little detective. Ugh. What are we doing? Ominous. Smells like death. The jewelry. What is happening? Why was there an imposter? Tao? Okay. This is an insane conspiracy. Yo, her ladies in waiting are fucked. And then always pulling herself back, for sure. Mushrooms. Yeah, and that was your smell as well as the other connection. That's very interesting, but it's a weird one. Yeah, ethically. Stop being a freak, Mau Mau. No way. Oh, left one behind, though. There's nothing innocent about it. Some giga medicine or something. I don't know what to make of our little story this episode. It definitely came together. I definitely did forget that this show is very episodic sometimes too, with the episodes obviously like forming larger parts of a narrative as well. Seems that the arc we're currently in is mostly gonna be centering around Gyokyo's pregnancy and this general like literacy book thing, and you know, that side of it. That's kind of linking a lot of things. But again, each individual episode will also have its own stuff going on with the corpse fungus. And yeah, to that end, I don't. Obviously, the corpse fungus and other parts of this episode will rear their ugly heads again. But yeah, I don't know how much of it is in concrete. You know, I don't know what part we're taking forward yet. But that's what makes it fun. I was engrossed. I guess out of this session, I'm very impressed at the show's subtext. We're very good at characters giving each other looks, and those looks meaning things. Like, hey, if I say this, I know that Mao Mao is smart enough to read between the lines and figure out something else. Which is what I wanted her to do. Okay. Lots of stuff going on next episode. Mira. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I'll return and we'll do some analysis on those 2 episodes, shall we? And we're back. That was episodes 2 and 3. More than anything else, I'm coming out of this session just constantly reminded of how much I like this show, which was kind of what I came out of last session doing as well. The characters and the little mysteries and the stories there are just so engaging to me. If it's not putting a smile on my face from how adorable it all is, it's, putting a puzzled frown on my face from how confusing it all is, I'm never bored. I'm never bored watching this show for sure. And I think that's probably its best asset, just a constant kind of flow of stuff that I find personally pretty interesting. With, again, now I've been trained by the show with the knowledge that, again, even when things look like they're cul-de-sacking a little bit, it looks like we just, peer over here for a second and then pull back, and peer over here for a second and then pull back. I have now been trained by the show in season 1 to expect all of these things to come together into something by the very end, right? That's what was so good about that Sure plan from the second core of last season. It just all collapsed in on itself in such a wonderful way. So again, now when I see this little kind of side esoteric details, I'm like, that'll probably come back, right? It goes to show how important payoff is, because payoff trains you to treat every single interaction like that with importance. Big picture stuff from the episodes. It seems that people know about Gyokyo's pregnancy. It's kind of this hushed whisper around. Obviously, she's very close with the Emperor. She would have a lot of enemies. Mao Mao and Jinchi working double time to figure out, any and all threats going on there. Seems that we're building a school for learning to read and write. Maybe, Jalan will become involved there a little bit. That kind of thing seemingly is going to be placed up north. North had the weird smell, but we kind of solved that already so that we can park that. It's kind of overgrown, not so much used, but also simultaneously away from people that may sneer at the girls when they're trying to learn how to read and write. Especially, again, the whole classism thing going on there. So yeah, park that'll be important. Still haven't met the twins. Don't know what's going on there. I thought we were making some implications potentially that those twins would be joining the Jade Pavilion with Gyokyo. Like, this almost arms race of, ladies in waiting. All these, little servant friends. Not servants, but you know what I mean. Like, it's almost a show of power and a show of, like, the amount of people that you have on your side, on your team. Think of it almost in a sports sense, like a supporter base. Obviously, again, it becomes intimidating when there's a larger supporter base on the other side. And any number of those people could, be involved in a poisoning, could be involved in some kind of plot. It's almost Cold War-esque as well. Just kind of a show of power, but no outright war yet. Just like, yeah, we got a lot of stuff over here. We can drop the bomb anytime. What do you guys have? Are you going to show me your power as well? So again, I thought maybe we were getting those twins in to be our kind of backup. But again, from their character designs, in the opening at least, which I can go back to now, here somewhere, they seemed a little bit more important than, your regular kind of lady-in-waiting. Yeah, they seemed almost another concubine level, like foreign, obviously based on the hair as well. Striking blue eyes. There's this kind of jewelry. This jewelry here is very similar to the jewelry that was on the corpse that we found. Yeah, so maybe I misread that scene. Again, we'll rewatch it here in but a moment and figure that out properly. But yeah, I'm curious about them and what they know, what they're planning. They always look like they're scheming or something. And again, as I've talked about, they seemingly are twins. There is 2 of them. Are they going to be swapping back and forth places and stuff? I'm watching for it. Let's say that. But either way, we'll never get anywhere if we don't dive back through here, so let's do just that. So this first scene here is just Jinchi and Gao Shun kind of explaining that this caravan coming in, it's an important diplomatic partner. It's a big deal. There's a to be a banquet, lots of stuff there, right? I feel like this scene is more important later on. Like, just keep in mind that this caravan and this diplomatic partner that we're trading with is a big deal. So again, when this caravan comes in and it has a whole bunch of stuff that maybe Gyokyo's not going to like, that may be targeting her, maybe something to consider, I don't know. And a foreign nation specifically, special envoy. So yeah, that's very quick at the very start there, before moving into other stuff in the episode. Yeah, just watch that. A big important trading partner, a foreign nation, a special envoy. This is what this caravan is. And again, this is the first part of it. There is more coming from said caravan, right? Very quickly after that, it goes into a little bit of spring cleaning. Again, we should get rid of some old outfits if we're going to be purchasing some new ones from the caravan that's about to show up. What do we do with the old outfits, considering that, again, they're quite good and still quite nice, if not always up to the current kind of trends at the time? Hey, we send them back to Gyokyo's homeland and, we use them there. In that case, let's put some insect repellent herbs. Very smart of you. Very astute, Mao Mao. And yeah, that kind of spawns into a conversation about Gyokyo's new ladies-in-waiting, which is showing up. Again, she's pregnant. We'll need more help as the pregnancy continues. There's only 4 or 5 of us, right? Cool, so this is where I get confused, right? Because then we cut to this wide, and then we cut to a caravan, but not the caravan, I don't think, where we see 2 characters side by side. 3 characters. Excuse me, I was off. So the twins, as I'm affectionately calling them, are not involved here. These are just 3 ladies from Gyokyo's homeland that are coming along as well. But as I said, this is only half of the story. We've seen Lao Lan and her whole gang, 50 ladies in waiting. Li Fa has a lot. Fucking Li Shu's doing something. I don't know what she's doing over there. It's a show of power, much like I've talked about already in this segment. And again, we're kind of feeling the tension there. We're feeling the threat. So, hey, let's get some more people here that are going to be for sure on our side. Just a broader observation, I like how excited everybody is about their limited chances to shop. Again, Mao Mao, at least we've seen her on the outside a little bit in the Pleasure District, where she's grown up. There's probably a little bit more shopping to do there than such a closed-off and insulated place like the Rear Palace. It's fun to see characters such as, your name escapes me, and Xiaolan get really excited here about shopping. I think that's kind of cute. It's something that they don't get to do every day. Straight out of that scene, and now we're into Lady Li Fa and her little friend here, which I believe her name is Shin. Well, maybe not her, but the lady later on is named Shin. Anyway, we cut to the shot here of her, rubbing her midsection, right? So, I think that this is already implying that she's pregnant. And she's also hiding a pregnancy that, again, Gyokyo and alcohol people don't know about yet. We name check her by name, again, when we're talking about how these things could result in difficulties and complications during pregnancy, right? Much like the start of the show, much like the makeup stuff, right? Are we going to have somebody that's going to be in Li Fa's corner, again, to help with this kind of stuff? Or is she going to suffer the same fate from her people being less cautious, her people potentially not having her best interests in mind all the time as well? Lots of stuff going on there. So again, I'm worried broadly for you. I feel like the same trend is occurring again. And unless Mao Mao figures out that you're pregnant too, I feel like you're not going to, this isn't going to end well for you. Specifically here, pouring a glass of tea without any kind of fanfare or anything, right? And as we learn later in this specific episode, jasmine tea is bad in that regard. Yeah, this is the Shin character I was talking about too. So again, just a general lack of awareness still from her camp, I feel. Specifically, even the Shin character here, there is this cut here to just her mouth, where it seems like she's holding back some semblance of disgust or disappointment or something. Again, just generally getting the feeling that you don't like Lady Li Fa very much. I don't know. Well, there's this really weird scene in this episode too, where we just kind of cut to her late at night or something, and there's just a bunch of dyes, a bunch of smells and stuff that she is seemingly picking out of a basket. Again, it screams bad news to me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what clued me off to her being somewhat suspicious. Maybe it's this fucking... Maybe it's this Kubrick-esque stare down the camera menacingly, right in my very soul, piercing it ever so. Maybe it's something like that. Yeah, Yeah, your bad news. You also receive a message from the clinic, which could have been a, what would you say, like pregnancy clinic or like that kind of thing, to like check if you're actually pregnant. And we get the affirmative, and now you're like, oh, time to enact my plan. Yeah, it screams of something like that to me. There's an interesting section through here where Mao Mao kind of muses on how unique the Rear Palace is. Hey, there's not a lot of shopping. Hey, there's only one doctor, and the doctors that are here are kind of wacky. How isn't everybody sick? Point being, sanitation. Really good high-level sanitation as well. But it feels like it's set up for if said sanitation was to go away, or something kind of got in, that it could break out and infect everybody very quickly. Again, maybe a bigger picture thing going on later on in the show. We'll see. Continuing to beat the drum that Xiaolan is cute. I like the little shirt tug here. I think that's just absolutely adorable. Right there. Love it. Again, will not shut up about seeing some death flags here, though. You're just too nice. I don't feel like nice characters like this can just be. In contrast to Season 1, where you were just no drama, no frills, off to the side doing your own thing, I feel like you're becoming more involved, and as a result, more vulnerable. Something like that anyway. I hope we check in with Lishu again. She's only really name-checked here in this little section. That, again, her whole crew, her ladies-in-waiting, may be, like, bullying her, kind of, or, like, flattering her. Getting what they want. Getting her to buy them things, essentially. That's not great. You still don't have anybody in your circle that you can really trust, that has your best interests in mind. I want to explore that a little bit more. I find Lishu a fascinating character in that regard, and really quite tragic. Again, we must remember all the stuff with Arduo, kind of her only like friend there, that kind of mother figure. Thought that was all very lovely. Again, Season 1's great, by the way. Holy shit. Yeah, weird. But again, more general talk to this level of arms race with, how much stuff and how much, power we have, how much stuff are we buying, how glamorous are we, all that kind of stuff. And then we get to the, important part of the scene. Mao Mao makes the discoveries about the outfits. Essentially that somebody could figure out certain things about somebody based on what outfits they buy, ones that are a little bit more tight, right under the bust there, as opposed to essentially maternity clothes that are a little bit more free-flowing. In retrospect, this seems pretty obvious. If somebody starts suddenly buying maternity-esque clothes, potentially that would be an indicator that they're pregnant. Yes, very astute of you, Mao Mao. But I guess this is just a thing that we didn't consider right here and now. I guess it's less kind of delineated as normal clothes versus maternity clothes. It's just a different style. But if somebody noticed the style change from the clothes that Gyokyo was buying, it could be an indicator of pregnancy. There are people watching everywhere. This general theme in this episode of paranoia, of things not quite adding up. And yeah, really just love this scene. There's a real serious tone to Mao Mao turning to Gyokyo before Gyokyo kind of pats Ling Li's little head there. Again, they know that they're a target, and they're kind of speaking in between the lines here, the people in the know versus the people that aren't, of, hey, we should continue to show off as much as possible that you're not pregnant, because as soon as you are, as soon as everybody knows that, you're a huge target. And again, your daughter is a target as well. So again, I love that layer of the conversation here. Mao Mao here is just lovely. She's got some amount of an allowance from Gyokyo as a lady in waiting, kind of, hey, here's a little bit of cash to splash, little something something. Mao Mao uses it to buy Xiaolan a little gift. Almost, again, little sister vibes is what we kind of call it. And again, you were so excited about the shopping being in town, excitedly looking at all the stuff on the tables. It's just very sweet. I love it. Yeah, if I had a little sister of some kind, would she be this type of creature? It's lovely in the moment. I'm just such a pessimist. It's going to be ripped away at some point. It just has to be. Even this one scene here where she's just kind of excitedly looking at the camel. Like, it's like, oh, I've never seen a fucking camel before. She loves it. While again, Mao Mao is more focused on the discounts, channeling a little bit of Vertigo's house and how frugal she is, let's say. Specifically here we notice some jasmine tea. Would like to purchase some at the exact same time as Shisui, I believe that's your name. And yeah, Shisui is associated with Xiaolan, both of the kind of servant class, clearly know each other. That's all very sweet. And again, we know her from the cat shenanigans, clearly interested in Jasmine Tea as well. It's interesting when we're clearly associating Mao Mao and another character so very closely. Because the last time we did this, it was Sue. So I don't think you're evil, for the record. But I didn't think that Sure was evil either. I don't know. I don't trust you yet, I guess. We then meet up, decide that tea's a good idea, considering we wanted to, purchase the Jasmine tea. We go to the doctor's office to go see the cat and kind of chill out for a bit. It's also kind of just been where Mao Mao's hanging out, so I don't know, just hang out and have some tea. It's very comfy. Yeah, they're having tea and cakes. It's like a fucking K-On! Episode in here, man. It's crazy. With the quack doctor on the drums or something. I feel like with Shisui, I'm doing the same thing I did with Basen last season as well. I'm suspecting somebody for basically nothing. I don't think that they're actually evil. Because again, almost matter-of-factly, we bring up this smell that's on the north side, right? Which we solve by the end of the next episode. I thought, again, you were like, I'm gonna bait Mao Mao and get her over here or something. I thought you were trying to be sly like that, but that doesn't seem to be the case, at least not yet. Seemed like, again, it was more isolated, where I thought potentially the smell would be big picture. It seems what we're going to do with her character instead is almost like a kindred spirit type to Mao Mao, with a fascination for bugs and spiders and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to, again, Mao Mao with the apothecary and ingredients and poisons and whatnot. So again, two peas in a pod, two very similar kind of ideas there. Again, I like bugs. I like bug catching. It's kind of a vibe. And yeah, they bond on the topic, especially the spiders. You want to harvest some specific silk. So, I don't know. Kindred spirits. How many times could I say it? Now, this here was the interesting scene. So we cut out of there. We see these boxes here. We hear somebody coughing. And then we see you've got this, like, arsenal of different oils and smells and stuff. And again, I thought in my mind I was then associating whoever this is, that we don't see, with that Shin character. But maybe that's not the case, because somebody coughing and being close to dying is maybe more similar to Jin. And whatever happened to Jin, Tao, whatever you wanted to say there. No, but the oils and the smells specifically there would be from whoever is targeting Gyokyo. And we suspect it may be Jin, because she's done it in the past, but I don't think that's the case in the here and now, because that was years ago, when Jin was at the peak of her powers as well. Is this more big pit? Is this like whoever the mastermind is whoever we're looking at now, whoever's grabbing out these scented oils or whatnot, right? Because those are clearly what this is. This scene is just so curious in the middle of everything, and that cough is very telltale too. Somebody sick in the room at that same time. So yeah, I don't know if I'm missing something there or it's coming back later, but just one to watch, I guess. So again, this is coming off of the caravan stuff. Clearly from that caravan, we've brought in a lot of scented oils and whatnot. All great. When you mix them all together, they do stink though. But hey, these are also not great for maternity, not great for carrying child and whatnot. So like, it's great that it's spreading around. It's great that, it smells nice, but not exactly for everybody all the time. And especially if it's a trend, we saw what happened with Lady Lifa. This may extend further. It's interesting. It seems like we're playing with the idea of trends in the Rear Palace a little bit overall, considering the stuff with the literature as well, and that kind of spreading throughout. And again, bringing up the fact that the Rear Palace is kind of isolated in some dialogue back here, that it's this rare place that is quite well sanitized and whatnot. It makes me feel like something else may spread throughout this area at a certain time as well. Just a vibe I'm getting. But yeah, Mao Mao, much like the little sniffer dog she is, just kind of catches a whiff, and then her brain just clicks, and then she's off. No one can control her. Yeah, and immediately she's over to the Crystal Pavilion on her smell shit. Again, it's like everybody's just like weirded out by her. Again, it is kind of pervert behavior. Like, I don't know. It's funny we call it out like that, though. And yeah, for her misgivings, they're admonished by Jinshi. Official complaint in for Mao Mao and her sniffing shenanigans, but there is a point to it. She thinks that a plot is at play. There is something afoot. And yeah, from here we have Mao Mao kind of vocalizing the hunch that she has. So with this caravan came an abundance of goods that, again, have other purposes, but are united by one. They all have adverse effects on pregnant women. Why did they all come in at once? Why is there so many of them? Why have they been spread around so very much like a trend through the rear palace? Is there some kind of hand that's pushing this in a certain way? We saw how Jinshi potentially pushed literacy as a thing from the background. Do we have somebody else behind the scenes potentially doing something like that? Is it curious that it's coming from this caravan, this lead caravan that's, a special envoy is expected from that foreign nation? Whoever those characters are, those twins, seem like they may be wanting the emperor, maybe, blah, 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 blah. Could have some hunches that there could be some pregnancies about and maybe wanting to change some things. Something like that. I don't know how specific I'm getting there, but I don't know. It's Surei. Surei's another one too. Like, there's just a lot of people out there that could be pushing something. And again, it may be a hunch for now, but Mao Mao's hunches are normally quite correct. And I was thinking about it before the show even mentioned it here, but yes, it does remind me of a previous incident in the show. Again, during when Ling Li was very young, there was a trend going around the rear palace that was very, very deadly for young infant children. Even again, the honey thing from that same season, they're all kind of involved. It feels like the same thing is happening again. These children, or pregnant women by extension, are being targeted using everyday items, using things that aren't very suspicious that can be poison if applied in the correct way. This is the show in its bag. This is the show playing in territory that it's firmly played in before, and I like that it name checks it. Okay, it seems like we're not going to have a complete repeat of what happened before because I forgot this piece of dialogue here. So I was worried for Li Fa, but hey, let's go let everybody know now, and then we task Gao Shun with doing just that. So hey, we're gonna say Shin, maybe if Shin's the one that collects this message as well, maybe again we will have a repeat of what's going on, considering how evil she seems. I don't know. So yeah, but at least we're trying to get the message out there. That's a positive. I find it very curious that we name check Surei here as a person that we know is still alive, that technically came back from the dead. That obviously has our worst interests in mind. I don't think that this is Surei, but again, it's more to the point that she is this constant threat in the background that could be involved. I do like this scene here as well of Mao Mao kind of contemplating the Mao Mao problem, right? I know things, I have hunches, I have, theories. Should I pursue them? Is it best not to go based on conjecture? How much proper evidence do I need before I go with something? My father's words in one ear, my talent in the other. The whole closed flower bud, open flower bud concept visually. Yeah, all that being applied and retread here again. This time with that kind of jasmine tea bud. I don't know what you call it. I'm not like a tea guy, but yeah, we kind of see it here. She drops it in and pours some water. And yeah, then very obviously when Jinshi comes in, we say some dialogue to the effect of, isn't this dangerous? Isn't this close to a poison? Again, flower bud opening up again, Mao Mao getting closer and closer to going off of her hunches and coincidences instead of actual hard evidence of her actually putting herself out there as opposed to being normal and going about her day and not following any of this stuff. Yes, it is somewhat poisonous, but in taking some of that poison, I'm also taking that risk. I'm moving on. I also don't get what... I'm not a tea guy. Like, if we steep it again, it'll get watery and it'll get tasteless. Does that affect Mao Mao's tea as well? The stuff that's already poured? Because if so, you're being a bitch. I don't want watery tea. Fucking get your own. Get out of here. Just because bro's important, he thinks he can steal my fucking tea. Fuck off. We hate Jinshi. I like that we just don't listen to him as well. We pour him a white tea instead. And then from here, I think Mao Mao tries to crack a joke. I've heard of another side effect of jasmine. Decreased fertility, particularly for males. And then he just cracks the shits. He gets mad. Yeah, he just fucking up and leaves. I don't know. So... why is the joke too much? Because, again, he's a eunuch. He wouldn't have any problems with fertility considering, the lack of, But because he actually isn't, is that doing things? I don't know. I don't know what this joke is. He just kind of seems really pissed off and catty. So yeah, and then ending the episode, we have Gao Shun passing that message on to the relevant concubines, but in the process also learning the Jin has passed away, which is kind of the propellant for the next episode. Then I think this is really curious. We have like poison and then Hong Yang pouring some tea and then looking at this flame. Like, that's all very specific, right? And then we find out later that, you know, she wasn't involved at all. I don't know. I thought that maybe we were going in a direction where Hong Yang did something. But that doesn't seem to be the way we went at all. Weird. I don't know what that last shot is trying to say. Again, maybe it'll all be kind of elucidated in time. So in rethinking about this episode, and in retrospect, I think I glazed over an important detail. That is that there was a poisoning to concubine Jin, who we know is a little bit prickly. And specifically Jinshi is suspicious of everybody. He doesn't play favorites with Mao Mao, specifically even suspecting her in this case as well, considering the nature of the poisoning. So that's an important detail. Jinshi isn't completely smitten to the point where he would neglect actual proper analysis and investigation. That's something. Again, that's what the whole kind of separation from Gyokyo is about in that scene as well, getting, you know, separating Mao Mao from those two. And yeah, we should take note of, with these early scenes where the Jade Pavilion is finding out about this, we must remember that Jin was heavily suspected of a poisoning during Ling Li's, when you were pregnant with Ling Li, like that whole thing. So again, we don't like Jin very much, like at all. And it's almost that lack of Mao Mao at that time, which was maybe the, you know, we were susceptible to poisonings and whatnot because we didn't have somebody of her skill set involved here. That may have influenced the recruitment of Mao Mao in the start of the show as well. Hey, we have a weakness here, let's get a poisons expert involved. Just a side tangent, I like this shot here. Very focused. We love her. We love Xiaolan. Yeah, she'll love the school. Now, probably in the criticism column for this episode, this whole Tao explanation here is pretty intensive. Like, I feel like there was a more subtle way that we could have introduced the name of Tao and who she was, without just literally having a random conversation between these two where the doctor just kind of brings it up out of nowhere. So again, my read here is that Tao was involved in the conspiracy of keeping Jin alive every so often whenever, you know, Jinshi was checking in, but also wanted to drop that, wanted to not do that anymore, and wanted to go on with her own life now that she'd received a hairpin and, you know, she had a whole different life ahead of her. Obviously, Jin's people didn't like that very much and poisoned her accordingly. Because I guess if she goes, then the whole conspiracy is at threat, and then they get suspected, and then, yeah. Like, what do they do? How do they explain the Jin situation without this? So yeah, that's why she gets killed there. And I guess that's kind of tragic, leading this double life that inevitably ends with your own death. That's no good. You perish. That's obviously not ideal. The other thing we talk about here is that, hey, the Rip Palace is a unique beast. It's a flower garden packed with 2,000 women, and not a lot of dudes. It's gonna get a bit catty. It's gonna be a bit fucked up. And again, there's a lot at stake here. There's a lot of power. There's a lot of... That's what makes the setting so interesting, I think. So yeah, again, there are... Everybody has enemies everywhere. And again, upon musing about that subject, we then look at Gyokyo, right? You know, potentially people know that she's pregnant already. Do they have good intentions? Do they have bad intentions? And then, yeah, we notice her over there. Jinshi gives this very telegraphed look like, oh, I'm actually kind of suspicious here or something. Yeah. It's quite interesting. And immediately here, right, it's like Gyokyo says, hey, Jinshi wants to speak with you. Jinshi wants to separate Mao Mao from Hong Yang and Gyokyo. Hey, this is all very telegraphed and important that we do it this way. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. First up, we talk about the school. So again, it seems like what we suspected was correct. Jinshi took that kind of literacy rate in the Rear Palace thing too hard and wanted to actually induce it. And now he's, you know, putting his money where his mouth is. He wants to create some kind of reading and writing school for, you know, the servant class, for people to learn that skill. That he thinks that's very important. Again, knowledge is to be able to read and write, and knowledge is power, of course, and very, very important in gaining your own agency and being your own person. Again, less reliance on the men and more reliance on ourselves. We can be our own people. Seems like a great idea, Jinshi. I'm very proud of you. And yeah, I love this interaction. Jinshi is so used to Mao Mao kind of admonishing him for whatever sick scheme he has going on. It's so rare for her to just be on board to the point where it throws them off. He doesn't know what to do. But very smartly in the writing department, we connect it back to that major theme of the episode, which is that the whole concubine consort business can get a little bit bitchy. Like, hey, if we have the servant school over by the southern gate, which is where all the rich people are, it could lead to conflict. Again, I just know how this kind of stuff works after being here for a while and seeing it from both sides. It's also something, it's good for delivering goods. Who cares? I'm more interested in the bitchiness of it all, which is why we suggest this area on the north side that isn't as well maintained. Again, I immediately thought about the stink, which becomes relevant, as well as Xiaolan and Shisui having more chances to interact. Yeah, Mao just has a trillion good ideas here. Call it a vocational education facility and vocational training stuff. Advertise it as a way to gain, a way to earn a living, right? Learn how to read and write. And then put some food there as well, and it'll go gangbusters. And yeah, Mao blaming the lack of thought about this side of it based on his higher class upbringing as opposed to my lower class street smarts. Very, very cool. And then almost out of nowhere, it's like, how much do you know about mushrooms? And this is when Jinshi's kind of testing her, right? To see how much she'll jump. I guess part of this is based on we suspect mushrooms being involved and we know that you're kind of a mushroom person. We saw you eating that mushroom last season. I don't know, did you get some ideas? Was Jin mean to you and then you wanted to get revenge or something? I guess this is where the suspicion comes in as well. During this time, before you get rid of all these poisonous mushrooms, I want you to also stop being the taste tester for Gyokyo. Interesting. Okay, yeah, this is where it's all coming together. But yeah, hey, get up. Regardless, we're gonna go to the north and pick up some poisonous mushrooms. That's like my favorite thing to do in the world. Sounds fun to do regardless, so I'm going to not take any of it too seriously. And yeah, Mama's great. I love how excited she is at this side of it. That passion coming through. It's just the person she is. This is the thing that she does. It's nice to see her enjoying herself. While she's out, it's important to note that she also smells the smell that Shisui suggested, right? That, I can also smell it. I verify that that's a thing. But yeah, she was very successful. She had a fulfilling day. And even got some medicinal mushrooms out of it. Mao then approaches Gyokyo and Hongyang and sees that they have a black string around their wrist. This indicates that there's been a passing of a noble, right? This is one of the clues. And again, Mao's starting to collect evidence and put together why Jinshi's doing what he's doing. I do like Mao when she lets her hair down a little bit more respectful. It's a good look. And yeah, now we start to explain the Jin side of things and how she died. So Jin has been sick for the past year, always in her room. Apparently she got food poisoning and never recovered. It wasn't like the Emperor was visiting her. She should have gone home. This is when we get the kind of indication that there's a little bit of tension there, a little bit of bitchiness. And yeah, basically Hongyang's like, yeah, she was a cunt. I didn't like her very much. She was vicious and jealous. She would attack people verbally, sometimes physically if they were lower class. And when she was at her peak of powers, it was also when Gyokyo was pregnant with the princess, right? She didn't openly, attack the higher ranking concubines, but if she's vicious and, with the lower level ones, she's obviously got ambitions. She obviously doesn't like the competition very much. And we had a suspected poisoning. We could never prove it was her, but it probably was. And yeah, instead of outright denying it, we have her hiding in the shadows, fucking twiddling her fingers like that, like some kind of supervillain, saying, you didn't have any evidence. That's sus. I don't like that. So yeah, we're glad that she died. I'll do it again, she says. And yeah, this is where the Jinshi side comes in, because now Mama's putting it all together. Jinshi knows that there was a suspected poisoning of Gyokyo back in the day, and the Jin was the prime suspect, but we couldn't prove it, right? That gives everybody associated with Gyokyo some kind of motive there. Even Mao, right? And then we hear it's poisons, we hear it's mushrooms. Oh shit, it might really be Mao. Oh shit, and then we try to ensnare her. That's kind of what Jinshi was trying to do here. And yeah, she goes through it. It couldn't have been Gyokyo. She would have different methods. These three couldn't do it. They can't even, tie their shoes or nothing. Yeah, and I wonder how Mama feels about Jinshi suspecting her so very much. It's an interesting one. And again, it seems like Mama is actually impressed. She's actually kind of happy about being suspected and is proud of Jinshi for doing so. So that's really fun. I like that she isn't taking offense. This is a crucial clue. We see a rash on the hand here. This rash is very similar to the rashes on both, what was her name? Son and Jin, the two rashes on their faces. So it's probably coming from the same source, as we're handed this this white flower here for the ceremony. I think it's very interesting that we're hiding her face during her funeral as well, during this whole wake, this procession. Again, this isn't who we thought it was. If somebody's suspicious of that, then hide the face, you know? But yeah, this doesn't stop Son from rushing in, exposing the face, finding out who it really was, and then seeing that they both have similar symptoms. Oh no, I don't think that she actually figures it out here. She just says you got what you deserve. She still thinks it's Jin. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so then Mao Mao reads between the lines based on the way that Jin looks and the way that Son looks. Jin is really Tao, but you know. Hey, it's all about this mushroom. Let's find this specific mushroom that Jinshi wanted me to find. And yeah, at that same point, we're getting some context. This is Son. She's from a wealthy merchant family, had a great personality, but exactly 2 years ago, she was poisoned. Again, she had a good thing going with the Emperor there for a little bit, but no, I'm bald now. That's no good. Nobody wants to be bald. It's basically the worst thing that can happen to you. You can't even go back home and make things better again. It's like this forever poison that you have on you. And yeah, again, Son believes that Jin is responsible for the illness. And yeah, that's when we find it. So this is the fungus in question, and I looked it up on Wikipedia. And look at that thing. It's fucking terrifying, man. That's holy shit. Also known as poison fire coral. So yeah, that's fucked. Yeah, very, very fucked. That's, crazy talk. I don't like that at all. These things in Australia? No. What the hell? I hate that. Oh. Conidium I clicked on as well. And yeah, from there we take a sample, we go to show Jinshi, we push him away because he was getting too close to the poison. Again, clearly not experienced with the subject. It even briefly touched me here previously, and I've got a scar for life. I don't want that to happen to you, Jinshi. I don't want any of these symptoms to occur. If you ingest it, you'll also fucking super die. It's no good. You don't want this to occur. And yeah, it goes to show that she has more hiding under those bandages that she always uses as well, right? All these different scars from the, you know, kind of apothecary experiments, and even some mushroom wound. I don't know what you would call it. It's something. And yeah, I like the little, like, embarrassment here. Oh, she figured us out. Okay, so this is the thing that happened to Jin. I figured out why you wanted me to go look at the mushrooms in the forest. And yeah, this is when Jinshi explains his side of the story. Hey, so Son was poisoned, and everyone suspected Jin, couldn't prove it. And then Jin was poisoned with the same thing. And then Jin almost turned into a different person. And we could barely speak to her, barely see her. She actually was a different person. That's the spoiler there. And yeah, unable to take it anymore, she's committed suicide. We're going to tell everybody it's food poisoning, but she changed completely and committed suicide. Oh, that's not what happened at all. And yeah, this is when Mao Mao puts it all together. Okay, so if we think that she's committed suicide from ingesting it, it's not like it's spread to a rash to her face. That's not how the thing works, right? So it's like it's been rubbed on her face or something, and then she's died. And again, her own hands are quite clean in that regard. Didn't have that same rash on the palms. Who did have the rash was one of her ladies-in-waiting, right? One of her little entourage. And then we suspect foul play from there. We suspect murder. Again, Jinshi knows what's going on here, grabbing her close, very kind of sensually. Very cool. Hey, if you've got a hunch, you go and you take that to the nth degree. I've grown to trust you enough to trust you to do this kind of thing. Yeah, it's nice to show this level of trust that this duo now has, right? Again, we must think back to the whole dramatic Jinshi's about to get murdered and gets pushed out of the way whole deal, right? If that's her acting on a hunch, then I'm going to keep trusting these hunches, because otherwise I would have been crushed. And yeah, from there, Mao Mao puts the pieces together. These mushrooms like to grow from something decomposing. There might be a corpse here. Let's dig it up and have a look. And yeah, we find exactly what we thought we'd find. That's Jin, jewelry and all. And this is when it all gets revealed. So Jin died a year ago. Then who have we been meeting? That's Tao. Tao was involved here as well. And yeah, the missing kind of servant here, Tao, she looks a lot like Jin. So again, this is where I'm kind of losing it a little bit. I'm like, To what purpose? So, okay, Jin has passed. Cool. Why do we care about concealing that information if we're Jin's court ladies, right? Is it because we're getting some kind of benefit from her staying alive? So we're trying to live this lie, right? With her still being alive, still being a going concern, so we can continue being in our current roles? Is that a thing? But this is Mama's personal conjecture. So, it was probably triggered by jealousy. So Jin, jealous of people comparing her to this servant lady. We've talked about it. There's a lot of classism going on here as well. People think that she's pretty. I can't believe they think that this lower class person looks like the upper class me. More to the point as well, there's the whole hairpin debacle. So somebody loves her, especially again when you can't get a call back from the emperor, really. So Tao was regularly abused. Then perhaps there was an argument, an accident, or some incident that ended in concubine Jin's death. And the way we're framing it here is that Tao is also involved in the conspiracy. So again, if there was some kind of incident like that, where it was a retaliation of sorts, or maybe everybody got in on the act and then she accidentally fucking died, then obviously we're all suspects in, murder and whatnot, right? Then we would want to keep this concealed to save our own asses. And everybody's going to be involved here. That would then make sense. Yeah, the ladies in waiting, perhaps out of self-preservation and sympathy for Tao, suggested they cover up concubine Jin's death. Tao couldn't decline, obviously doing this once a month, just kind of posing, as Jin. But again, you've got this hairpin, your marriage talks are ramping up. I'm going to leave you guys behind. Obviously, the secret will then come out. And yeah, because we don't want that to happen as well, we then murder you with the fucking poison mushroom. And then Mama holds herself back. I'm not going to do any more of that. Enough of that. This is for the higher-ups, not the lower class me. See how we're tying it back to that whole feeling again? Very, very cool. And then, yeah, we end here with kind of like a comedic thing, where it's like, you probably shouldn't be using mushrooms made from decomposing dead people, right? They grow in animal carcasses and excrement. So because the mushrooms were there, I thought that potentially there was a body. Which means these mushrooms here were from a body. That's no good. That's a kind of ethical nightmare. And again, they suspect her of this. They're like, I don't know if we should allow this psycho to keep these mushrooms. And yeah, we confiscate them in the very end, but we end the episode with Mama also musing on the subject of corpse fungus. Mushrooms that grow from a corpse. If such a thing existed, what would it look like? And what effects would it have? Again, you're very fascinated with this idea of a medicine that could bring somebody back to life. This whole Surrey thing, if we have life growing from death, isn't that one step on the whole kind of subject, I guess? That's the kind of read I'm making at the moment. Potentially this scene here that we're seeing will have some more importance later. Just remember corpse fungus as a general idea moving into the future. And yeah, we'll leave it there. I'm interested to see these twins impact things if and when that occurs. Other than that, successful session. Very, very much so. Don't know what else to say. It was just kind of good Apothecary Diaries stuff. Nothing else really major there. We'll see. We'll see as we continue, of course. Obviously Patreon. Obviously Discord, if you want to talk to me about anything. Like the video, subscribe, and I'm out of here. Thank you for watching here today, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.